Building a contender is not an easy thing to do in the NBA. In today's league, winning requires at least a couple of star players, a solid supporting cast, and elite coaching. But finding the right pieces and putting them together at the right moment is one of the most complicated things to do. It's also a process that requires patience and even luck on a few occasions. But when a team manages to find the right combination of players and coaches, the results can be outstanding and even take place earlier than expected. And if anyone can tell you that, it's the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets quickly raised to the top half of the Western Conference after going through a rebuild and now are looked on as contenders to win it all. So with another offseason to keep making improvements, some people may have wanted to see them acquiring another star player, but even while they didn't, there are many reasons to believe they'll keep getting better. Welcome to Courtside. Today we're talking about Denver's development and how they may keep improving despite the lack of movements in the open market. Not long ago, the Nuggets were one of the best regular season teams in the league by pairing a young Carmelo Anthony with players like Allen Iverson and then Chauncey Billups. The team was capable of making 7 consecutive postseason appearances. However, that team never managed to have success in the playoffs, only winning 2 series in 7 years before trading Anthony away. And while the team kept having success in the regular season without its former franchise player, their postseason struggles continued, eventually leading to a rebuild. The process of putting together a new roster from the ground up was not easy for the organization as they went through a few difficult seasons. However, the Nuggets never reached the bottom of the standings, and before long they were able to find their new cornerstones. Between 2014 and 2016, the team drafted Nikola Jokic, Gary Harris, and Jamal Murray, while also hiring Michael Malone as its new head coach. Jokic quickly established himself as a versatile big man that could run the offense for the team. So as soon as the front office decided to make him their center of the future, Malone decided to get the most out of the Serbian. Harris and Murray also emerged as talented contributors, and by the first season in which the 3 players were full-time starters, they led the team to its best record since its last playoff appearance. Denver couldn't make it to the postseason that year, losing the final game of the regular season against Minnesota and falling to the 9th seed. However, that loss would only motivate them to get better. Next year, the young Nuggets surprised everyone by earning the second-best record in the Western Conference. And despite their lack of experience in the playoffs, they came within a couple of shots of making it to the conference finals. Then they had a historic run during last season by coming back from a 3-1 series deficit against the Jazz and Clippers. Their win against the Clippers was a remarkable one since most people looked at Los Angeles as the better team. And while they couldn't repeat their feat against the Lakers, they proved to be a worthy challenge for the eventual champions, thus solidifying their status as contenders. In short, in a matter of 2 years, the Nuggets went from being playoff hopefuls to making it to the conference finals and putting up a fight against one of the most talented teams in the league. But as impressive as that is, how they did it may be their most significant achievement. While teams like the Lakers and Clippers became contenders after acquiring a pair of superstars via trade and free agency, the Nuggets got to that point by making excellent selections in the draft and developing its young players. Jokic may be the best example of that. In the 2014 draft, the Serbian fell to the second round, and despite not being considered a potential star, the team decided to take a chance on him. However, even they couldn't have predicted how good he would become. As a matter of fact, the Joker wasn't their only option at the center position. In the same draft, Denver selected Jusuf Nurkic with an earlier pick, but since both players had similar skill sets, they weren't looked at as an ideal fit. So after distributing the minutes between the 2 centers for a season and a half, the front office decided to trade Nurkic away, thus ensuring Jokic would be able to take on a larger role and reach his full potential. Things were similar with Murray. During his first season, he was used as a backup most of the time behind Emmanuel Mudiay, who played the same position as him and had been drafted a year before. But as time went by, Murray was promoted to the starting lineup to play along with Mudiay. And then, just like with Jusuf, Emmanuel was traded away to allow Jamal to take on a larger role. In other words, after acquiring many intriguing players, the front office had to decide on which ones to keep. And it's safe to say it made the right choices since both Jokic and Murray have emerged as stars. Coach Malone also has been a good influence for the young players, finding the right balance between its core players and pushing them to improve in all areas of their game so they can remain productive on the court whenever shots aren't falling. But not all of Denver's best players were developed at home. Paul Millsap is the best example of that since he joined the team as a free agent in 2017. And while the power forward wasn't asked to play like an all-star, his role may have been one of the most important for the team. Millsap was the team's veteran, someone who had been to the conference finals and knew what it took to get there. He was known for his defense and for always playing hard, even despite having been named to multiple all-star teams in the past. So he was someone who could teach the younger players a thing or two about winning some games. But now that he's older and the Nuggets have emerged as a contender in the West, it would have been reasonable for the front office to try to acquire a veteran in his prime who could help the team immediately, even if it went against the philosophy of building through the draft. And it seems like that was the case for a while. According to multiple reports, the team was interested in acquiring Drew Holiday from the Pelicans. And while it's unknown what they would have been willing to give in exchange for the talented guard, pairing Holiday with Jokic and Murray could have taken Denver to the next level. However, as it turned out, things didn't go in their favor. It was reported that New Orleans didn't want to send Holiday to a rival team in the West, so they decided to complete a trade with the Milwaukee Bucks instead, making sure they wouldn't have to play against their former player in a potential playoff series. With that option gone, there were no indications about the Nuggets being interested in adding another star or veteran player to complement the roster. Instead, they decided to bring Millsap back for another year and acquired J. Michael Green after learning about the departures of Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee. Other than that, the team's best free agency addition was Real Madrid point guard Facundo Campazzo. And while the Argentinian is a very talented player and arguably one of the most creative passers in the game, he shouldn't be expected to become the third star for the Nuggets. So considering the teams like the Lakers and Trailblazers made significant additions during the offseason, should the Nuggets be worried about falling behind their rivals in the Western Conference? Not at all, and here's why. While teams in Portland and Los Angeles rely on veteran players who are already on their primes, Denver's best players are still developing their game, even if it looks like they're already among the best at their respective positions. In the case of Jokic, he's already considered as one of the best big men in the league and could arguably be the best center in the NBA. However, that doesn't mean he can't make more improvements to his game. After all, he's only 25 and has only played in the league for 5 years. When it comes to Murray, things get even better for the team. The point guard is only 23 years old and is coming off his 4th season in the league. And while his performance in the bubble playoffs helped him earn recognition as a future superstar, he'll now face the challenge of producing outstanding numbers throughout a full season. However, the team's most intriguing player going forward may be Michael Porter Jr. The young forward had his professional debut delayed because of back problems, and then during his rookie season, it was hard for him to find minutes as part of a team that was trying to finish with one of the best records within its conference. Throughout the regular season, he showed moments of brilliance from time to time, but his production was very limited because of having an inconsistent role within the team. But that would change once the seeding game started. Since Denver was missing multiple pieces during the first few weeks inside the bubble, Coach Malone had no other option but to give Porter a larger role, promoting him to the starting lineup, and the rookie made the most out of the opportunity. As a starter, he produced numbers that resembled those of a star and was named to the all-bubble second team. Thus, once the postseason got going, his role was increased. At first, he struggled when faced against playoff defenses, and his poor defensive play forced Malone to take him out of games at times. But as the Nuggets got deeper into the playoffs, he started playing with more confidence on both ends of the floor. So now that the team is heading into a new season, most of the attention will be on whether he's capable of being Denver's third star. With Grant now in Detroit and Millsap being a year older, there's a chance Porter becomes a starter, and if he doesn't, he could easily become the team's 6th man. But regardless of what his role ends up being, it's well known the Nuggets consider him to be an important part of their future. Before the start of the offseason, it was reported the front office rejected all calls from teams looking to acquire the young forward, so they may expect him to take a step forward this year. The good news is, he's aware he has a lot of room to improve. Recently, he talked about how he used his experience in the playoffs to learn about the things where he needed to work the most, and now he's expecting to be able to help his team in every possible way. If he's able to take that next step forward in his development, he may eventually be the key to helping the Nuggets get over teams like the Lakers. But if he doesn't, there's a chance the front office already has a backup plan, as they did with Mudiay and Nurkic. To sum it all up, in an era where player movement is the rule, Denver has opted to do things traditionally. The front office has taken the long route, and the results have been spectacular so far. With 2 young stars to complement each other and a brilliant coach, the Nuggets' future may be brighter than before. However, that's not where the good things end. With Porter considered as one of the early favorites to win the Most Improved Player of the Year award, the franchise may be about to form a big 3. And if they do, it may only be a matter of time before the Nuggets turn into one of the most dangerous teams in the league. But now, how do you feel about Denver's future? You think Porter will make a big 3 along with Jokic and Murray? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel for more NBA content. We are Courtside.